Well, everybody, it is 4-3 to Copenhagen here in Copenhagen in Denmark, and I don't know how we got to that result. I'm going to be honest. When I was looking up at the scoreboard and I saw the minutes of the goals scored and I saw 4-3 to Copenhagen, I just thought to myself, how? How has this team done this again? And it was such a positive performance before the red card. I was about to say Erik ten Hag set up tactically brilliantly. We were doing really well. Bruno was the furthest man forward, pressing was working brilliantly. The whole team, we were getting through them into the midfield. It looked like a good game, but how come one red card? And it's Marcus Rashford who's a winger. It's not even as if it's a really important player in the midfield or the defence. Marcus Rashford was doing well actually getting back before he got the red card, and we'll speak about the decisions, but how can that put the game on its head? And then when it does put the game on its head and you capitulate to a 2-2, you're thinking, you know what, Manchester United are still in this game, you know, you just got to hold out and then try and get a goal on the counter-attack, and that's exactly what we did. We held out, and it wasn't on the counter-attack, but we got a free kick. Fair play to Harry Maguire, because I don't think it was a handball on him in the first half when it got given, but then he wins a handball off winning the ball in the air and then complaining to the referee, and he honestly did act like a leader on the pitch, in my opinion. And I thought nobody really played well in the last half an hour of the game, but I thought he did well, and I thought he's really starting to kind of look like a decent player, a good player in this team, but I'm really struggling to find positives. One thing I would say is I feel sorry for Rasmus Højlund. I really feel sorry for Rasmus Højlund. Imagine being a player that's the first ever Manchester United player to score 5 goals in your first 4 Champions League games, and you come out with no points off the back of them goals. It must be so disheartening. I can understand why Dalot, when it was the bad defending on the back post, when he should have got the ball, I can understand why Højlund was going absolutely mental. Højlund's 20 years old, he's just come into this team and he looks like the shining light. Like, that is a problem. And the game, like, I've seen people online blaming Erik ten Hag, and there's a lot of questions to Erik ten Hag. What your signings are questionable, massively questionable, and yes, the Mount sub for Højlund was questionable as well, but it doesn't make sense, obviously, bringing off your striker when you need to get a goal. But I honestly don't think the game would have changed either way. I know you can't say that, but how is Erik ten Hag responsible for Wan-Bissaka absolutely pelting the ball at Onana and then it being given a corner when I was hearing, by the way, it didn't even actually go out of play, and that's what led to the goal? How is he responsible for the fact Johnny Evans gets injured, which, by the way, has been probably our best centre-back this season, which is crazy to say because I was slating that signing. He's been our best centre-back. That's where we're at. Varane comes in, and I'm going to say it, Varane and Maguire don't look comfortable together. It really didn't look comfortable. There were mistakes going left, right and centre. I think on the 4th goal, Varane had an absolute shocker. I've obviously not watched the game back. There wasn't any screens up in the press, but from what I could see, Dalot individual error on the back post after he just defended basically the same sequence against Fulham brilliantly, and this one he just straight past him. The back post again for Diogo Dalot, and I like Diogo Dalot, he speaks well, but there's no excuse in that. How is Erik ten Hag to blame for individual errors? We are individual error FC, and Man United should have won that game. They should have held on. Bruno, you know, you're against the Copenhagen fans, which are absolutely unbelievable, and he sticks it, and you think, you know, Manchester United are going to go on and win this game, and we're going to get through the Champions League group. Now, honestly, I'm at the point where I'm like, I'd probably rather drop out of the group than go into the Europa League, and I feel bad saying that. Obviously, if I had to decide, you're thinking Europa League, and it's a chance to actually win a trophy, and that'd be brilliant for this team because the Europa League is a good trophy to win. So you're thinking, yeah, I do want to do it, but at the same time, you're thinking, well, if we all go out all together, Erik ten Hag at least gets the time on the training ground, which this team needs. But it really did feel like the Fulham game, and then the first half when Højlund scores 2 great goals, it really does feel like that this team is going to start putting some results together. It's turning it round, and then to have them VAR decisions go against you, which I'm going to talk about, because I thought the team put a positive performance together up until the VAR decisions, and you shouldn't capitulate like that mentally, you shouldn't. But the red card on Rashford wasn't a red card in my opinion. Yes, if you freeze the frame and look at it in slow motion, it looks like a red, but if you actually look at what Rashford's doing, he's guarding the ball and he's not even looking at the player. We've literally just been in the mix zone, and a Copenhagen player stopped and said that if it was given against him, he would be really gutted, and he said it was like a harsh one to be given. If your opposite team saying that, I mean, what does it say? What does it say? And how many VAR decisions is that gone against us now? And I'm not trying to say, you know, you can blame VAR for everything, but come on, one game. One game. And then on top of that, you have the Harry Maguire handball, which in my opinion is ridiculously harsh. Then again, you do know in the Champions League, they're going to give handball for absolutely anything. I remember the Martinez one against Sociedad was a disgrace. And, you know, the Harry Maguire one, you knew they were going to give it. It's the Champions League. That's the way the officiating is in this competition. But two ridiculously harsh decisions, which realistically, Copenhagen shouldn't have been able to get back into this game. But the third goal is key. You know what they say? 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football. We needed to get that third goal. I was certain in my head Rasmus Højlund was going to go on to have a hat-trick at his old club in Denmark, in Copenhagen, and he just wasn't meant to be. And I feel sorry for a few players. Felt sorry for Garnacho. I feel like he gave everything he could today. It was hard once Rashford was out the game for him. Felt sorry for Højlund because, again, just a shining light of this team. I actually thought Bruno did well in the role that he had. He was trying to make things happen. One question mark I have, and obviously it's really tough to judge players when you're coming in at 10 men, but I can guarantee you now, if Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool were here at 10 men tonight, they would have gone on and won this game. It's the fragile mentality of this team that I really thought they were going to get past tonight. I thought McTominay was having a good game up until the red card. You know, McTominay was barely in this team. He was having a good game up until the red card. I really do think that. I think a lot of players were. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was having a good game up until the red card. And then things just start to drop, and it feels like it's just this stigma around this team that this starts happening. And you've got to see it out. If you get back to 3-2, you really do have to see it out. And I've got to give him credit for getting there, but it's just individual errors absolutely costing us. I also want to know set pieces. Every time there's a set piece, we look like we're going to concede. Why is that? Why is it every time there's a set piece, does it look like we're going to concede? It just feels like if Manchester United score a goal, the opposition know they can go and score another one. I mean, 3-2 at home to Galatasaray, and then you've got 4-3 away here. It's not good enough for Manchester United. It's really not. I don't care if it's 10 men or not. I really don't. So questions need to be asked, but at the same time, I think everybody trying to blame Erik ten Hag for this really needs to kind of look at what actually just happened on that pitch. It's individual errors, and it's this DNA running through this team of, I feel like there's a weakness there and it needs to be improved. And set pieces, just every time it flies into the box, it just doesn't look like we can defend it. And I get that you're one man down, but it's something that really needs to be looked at. And I wonder, like, what are we doing as a set piece? What's a set piece coach doing on defensive set pieces? Because it's something that we've struggled with all season. But in my opinion, I think we're out the Champions League group now, and even Galatasaray and Bayern Munich, Rashford can't play. He's got a red card. Some of you might think that's a good thing. I think Rashford is an important player for us, and I really don't think he deserved the sending off. And to be honest with you, I thought his defensive work was actually really good up until the sending off. But that's the way life goes, unfortunately for us, and it just feels like everything's going against us at the moment. It really does. I thought to myself, things can't get any worse, and then it does. And I really thought we were going to get through this Champions League group. I thought 3-2, Bruno Fernandes, Anana saved that penalty against Copenhagen in the first leg. This leg, we're going to do it, 10 men, and then even if you would have escaped with a draw, you're still in the conversation if you escape with a draw. But no, we had to go and concede that fourth goal, and the last goal was honestly an absolute embarrassment when it comes to defending. And this is the problem. How can we go from last season looking really defensively solid and sound? And I know a lot of people will be like, oh, well, we've changed David De Gea. Okay, Anana's not been absolutely amazing since he's come in, but defensively, we're just so poor. Like, we just look all over the shop, and I honestly don't think it's a coincidence. When I'm listening to Ricky, Johnny Evans is organising that back line. We shouldn't be relying on Johnny Evans. It's 35, by the way. But Johnny Evans has the best success rate in this back four across this season in the games that he's played. And when he comes off injured, I get that we go down to 10 men, but we look way more disorganised at the back. We're lacking proper leaders in that back line, and you think Varane is going to be that. Varane's just didn't look good tonight. I know he's been out the team, so it's hard to kind of come in when you're out the team. But we've got massive issues defensively that need to be addressed. You can't be scoring 3 goals and conceding 4, 10 men or not. You can't be conceding 3 goals at home against Galatasaray. These are things that just cannot be happening. And you look at the rest of the team. Amrabat is another question mark for me. I was so excited when he came into this team. Again, when he came on today, silly errors, giving the ball away, not finding the right pass, looking shaky on the football. I know that Amrabat's a good player. I know Amrabat is physically good, but he just looks a little bit stuck in the mud at the moment. And it just feels like every player that walks through the door gets United-ified. Mason Mount, number 7 shirt, 60 million. You guys know how excited I was for him to come through the door. You need someone, you need it 10 men, someone to come in and run around and do and get over the pitch and kind of make up for the man that you're missing. Mason Mount has got the energy. He doesn't get used until the game's basically gone. And it just feels like, what is that signing? Because we get told that Erik ten Hag was hell-bent on it and really wanted him. He gets given the number 7, 60 mil, and then he's barely been used. And you just can't see a place from this team. There's just a lot of question marks right now. A lot of question marks. But I really did think this was going to be the turning point. We've got Luton on Saturday. Erik ten Hag has to win that game. I actually feel sorry for him because the VAR decisions did cost him this game. They did. We still shouldn't have lost, but they did cost us the game. Luton on Saturday, we've got to win at home. Like, there's no ifs, buts or maybes. Luton have been the whipping boys in the Premier League, and at their place, it's a tough place to go. Their place has been a tough place to go. It's tough for Spurs, it's tough for Liverpool. At home, we should be beating Luton. It's a massive test for these players, and I shouldn't be going into Luton at home in the Premier League nervous. I keep saying it can't get any worse. Going to be out of the Champions League, into the Europa League. Comment down below, would you rather go into the Europa League or just go out of the competition altogether and have more time on the training ground? But I'm gutted all the way to Copenhagen, and this is the result we've got. I'm absolutely gutted, but thank you everyone for following us along. Thank you for all your support, getting your comments in. It's a very late night here for us, and we just really appreciate you as a community in times like this. We've got to stick together, therapy stand, and yeah, see you when I'm back home in Manchester, everyone.